So the other day on stream, we covered the monster Wade Wilson. And if you guys don't know, it's the dumbass who got the face tats with the Joker shit all over his face. I mean, I understand face tattoos, but at the same time, face tattoos like that, I don't understand it. But anyways, we're gonna go and check out some of the remaining victims of Wade Wilson. You know, the after effect he's left, and we're gonna talk about specifically one of the victim's best friends. And it's an interesting situation. My main question about this entire thing was, why did he do it? There were a few things that happened that night that I think may have promoted him to do something like this, but it still seems a bit irrational. Like, for example, he stalls his car out in front of the girls. And okay, that's embarrassing, but does that make you want to go and follow her home? You know, there's a lot to uncover, a lot to unpack. This is the first half of it from the live stream because it was really long. But you guys let me know what you think, and let me know if you guys are interested in this case because we just started kind of unpacking it on live lately.
The jurors, your name?
Stephanie Sailors.
What was your name back in 2019?
Stephanie Johnson.
Have you since gotten married?
Yes.
How old are you?
I'm 41.
Do you know someone by the name of Christine Melton?
Yes, Christine and I have been friends since we were in high school.
Where did the two of you meet?
In Illinois, where we grew up.
When did you meet?
When we were about 15 years old, and we became friends through her cousins, who I'm also very close with, and we were inseparable. Moved across the country together, lived together all through our 20s, and then ended up moving to Florida to be close to all of our family down here.
Where else did you live across the country with Christine?
We lived in Colorado together as well.
Now, did you both end up here in Cape Coral, Florida?
Yes.
Back in October of 2019, were you working?
Yes, Christine and I both worked at Duffy's in Cape Coral.
What type of employer is Duffy's?
It was a restaurant and bar, and we both waited tables there.
Was Christine dating anyone back in October of 2019?
No, Christine was not dating anybody.
Were you dating anyone?
No, I was not.
Where did Christine live at the time?
Christine lived in Cape Coral off of Tudor Drive.
What type of home did she live in?
It was a duplex apartment.
Did she live with anyone?
She lived alone.
Did she have any pets?
She did have one cat.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yeah.
For the record, I'm showing defense counsel what's been previously marked as State's Exhibits 4 and 10A. I'm going to show you these photos and ask if you'll take a look and tell me if you recognize them. Starting with...
I wonder what was really his motive for killing her. Like, all I know is that he strangled somebody. I don't know much else. But, like, every time we do a case, it's like, why did they do that thing? So, was he a dickhead? Was he an asshole? Like, he said he slept with the girl and then strangled her. Like, why would you do that? Why not just leave the house and never talk to her again? That's easier than, you know what I mean? Like, why? I don't know, but we're gonna figure out.
State's Exhibit 4, what do you recognize this exhibit to be?
That's Christine.
Is that how she looked back on October 6th and 7th of 2019?
Yes.
Showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 10A. Do you recognize this exhibit?
Yes, that is the apartment that Christine lived in.
Which door is hers?
The white door on the left. So there's a window and then the door right next to it, to the right.
Okay, so the door to the right of the window is her door, or the door to the left of the window?
To the left of the window.
Of the middle window?
Yeah, the far left door.
Thank you. I want to take you back to October 6th of 2019.
Look at this clown in a blue suit and a golden tie. I mean, I guess that's just a regular suit setup. The golden tie does not do it for me with the blue suit, though. That shit looks a little crazy. But, I mean, look at his face tats, bro. Like, come on, dude. This is after you went to jail. So you're going to go to the trial looking like this. You know you're going to jail. This is why I said he always knew he wasn't getting out. He just said, fuck it. We're just going to get tatted. I'm going to have a good old time in here.
Did you see Christine on that day?
Yes, Christine and I had planned to meet up later that night and to go out drinking at the Buddha bar in Fort Myers.
Had you ever been to the Buddha bar?
I had not been there before.
He's trying to be a comic
Where
book
is the Buddha
villain.
located?
It's located off of McGregor and I think College Parkway.
Is that in Lee County, Florida?
Yes.
How did the two of you get to the Buddha?
So I met Christine at her apartment that night, and we took an Uber from her apartment to the Buddha.
About what time did you Uber over to the Buddha?
Around 10:30.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
Do you have any specific reason the two of you chose the Buddha on that night?
There was live music there that night, so we wanted to go see a band play.
When you got there, what was just sort of the general environment of the bar?
It wasn't overly crowded. There was, a decent amount of people there that night, dancing, drinking, nothing out of the ordinary from a typical bar.
Was there a band playing?
Yes.
Now, were you friendly and did you talk to other people that were there?
Yeah, we socialized quite a bit. There's a couple of different bars in the main bar, and we were down at one bar. We danced. We got drinks at other bars. We talked to the people that were there. Pretty standard.
And how do you land on him? Some baby face with a whole bunch of tattoos trying to be Mr. Big Macho Man. I don't know. That's just my assumption. You see him with his little small frame and his tiny, I don't know. Something about him just screams out dweeb. How did you get attracted to him is the question. So I'm assuming this is the origin story of where they met each other. So I guess we're going to come up on him. He must have been a suave type of guy, because he looks like a fucking dweeb with tattoos, in my opinion. But
Right.
Now, obviously you're drinking and listening to music this entire time?
Yeah, we had been drinking pretty heavily that night.
And is that why you chose to get an Uber?
Yes, yeah, we both knew we were going to be drinking, so we didn't want to be driving at all.
Now, while you were there, did someone approach you?
Yeah, towards the end of the night, as we were walking up to the upstairs bar, somebody jumped out in front of me, kind of just like to get my attention, and said, "Hey, who's your friend?" And gestured towards Christine. And
I would have been like, boy, who is me? Get the fuck out of my way. Something, I don't know. Who's your friend? I don't know who my friend is. I know who I am. I don't know. That's some hater shit. But fuck, it would have been cool if they were just like, it'll go away. That would have been the end of that. Or he would have blew up and started trying to fight them, but then the bouncer would have fucked them up and threw him out. End of that. He's the type of dude to try to hit her, though. So he would have got mad, would have got red and started swinging hands. The bouncer would have came, bopped him up on the head a few times, kicked him out. It would have been a beautiful end of a story. But instead, I guess, shit.
he seemed friendly and introduced himself, and I grabbed Christine and said, "Hey, this guy wants to meet you."
Damn.
What was his demeanor?
Friendly, charming.
Is there any red flags that popped up when you were talking to him?
No.
How did he introduce himself to you?
At that point, he introduced himself as JR.
Do you see JR sitting in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Would you please point to him and identify an article of clothing that he's wearing?
Right there.
Look, he even has the ha 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 on his face. This is like the Temu version of the Joker tattoo.
There in a bright blue suit.
Let the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant.
Okay.
Now, has his appearance changed since the time that you met him?
Yes, he has a lot more tattoos on his face. He did not have any facial tattoos
May
the
I
night
approach
we
the
met
witness?
him.
You may.
He knew he couldn't get no girls with them face tattoos. That's why he didn't get
Now,
them.
after you introduced him to Christine, what happened next?
Christine and I and JR and another man, Jason, who we were introduced to by JR, talked at the bar, mingled. Christine and JR seemed to be interested in each other. Me and Christine had commented on how he had dimples, and one of the guys she had been talking to earlier in the night only had one dimple, and he had two dimples. And,
We should have went for the single dimple guy. Just saying. This is why I don't go to the club, folks. I'm not trying to meet you at the fucking club. Maybe at the bar. I guess the bar is a little different. But the other guy she was talking to had one. I'm not trying to, no, fuck all that. It's just too sweaty, too thirsty. Everybody's trying to be so interesting and it's like, no, fuck all that, bro. That shit is just too much for me. I can't. Oh, he has two dimples. I'm gonna go talk to him now. It's like, are we speed dating? I guess technically, but it's corny to me.
She definitely was attracted to him, and he seemed attracted to her, and they were friendly and getting to know each other.
Now, you mentioned that JR introduced you to someone by the name of Jason.
Yes, so there was another man that he was with at the bar named Jason, and I was under the impression that they were there together as friends, just like me and Christine had been.
At some point, did you take your talking and socializing outside of the...
This lady is typing her ass off. Check out the cursor. Her right here. I don't know how these people do it. She is just, she's low-key even smiling too, just having a chill, regular Wednesday. Typing her ass off. I don't know how they do it, bro. I would be so panicked. I would be so nervous the entire court proceeding. Just like, fuck me. Nope. I don't know.
bar?
Yeah, so that was at the end of the night, and the bar was closing. So they were kind of shuffling everybody out the door. Christine and I went outside, and we're still continuing to socialize with JR and Jason until, it was decided to leave. And me and Christine had came in an Uber, so we followed Jason and JR to their car. JR had tossed the keys over to Jason, and we were going to go after party. I didn't know at that point if we were going back to Christine's house or where we were headed from there, but we were going together.
Now, when you went into the parking lot, everybody's talking. Again, describe the mood.
Happy. Everybody was cheerful, intoxicated, but, there wasn't anything out of the ordinary or scary by any means. Just typical end of the bar night.
Now, is this around 2 a.m. that the bar's closing
Yes.
and kicking everybody out?
Mm-hmm.
Now,
So everything was closing at that point.
again, as far as JR's concerned, does he exhibit any kind of anger or any kind of red flags?
Any
No,
weirdoisms?
not at all.
And in fact, you and Christine thought he was charming?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you mentioned that JR threw the keys over to Jason.
Mm-hmm.
What type of car was it that you got in?
It was a Dodge Hellcat, I think it's called.
Whose car?
God. So he has the big car note for the Dodge Hellcat and to impress the females. You know what I mean? Tell the females to, okay, cool. How much is a Hellcat? Like 80,000. It's close to 100,000. And the way he looks, something tells me he doesn't have the best job. But I will say, people with a lot of tattoos typically have money, especially if they're good tattoos, because tattoos cost money. They're expensive. Hellcat. Let's say it's a Hellcat. Let's say it's a Dodge Hellcat 2019. That's a good year. 2019. How much are we paying for that? How much are we paying for that? 60 to 70K? It's not bad. SRT Hellcat, 80K. I mean, it's bad, but it's not. Okay. But that's I will say that the Hellcat is the typical douchebag car. And it's really sad because I would enjoy a Hellcat for myself one of these days. But you know, I don't want to be, I probably won't because it's just known as either the card the black guy gets or the car that the fucking douchebag jock gets, which is pick your poison. So I'm probably just not going to. It's so stereotyped.
I believed it was Jason's at that point.
When you got it,
Yeah.
you believed it was Jason's car?
I don't really remember. I just know Jason was driving at that time, so my assumption was that it was his car.
Where did everybody sit in the car?
Jason sat in the front seat, Christine sat in the in the passenger seat, and then me and JR were in the back seat.
Now, where did you end up going?
We drove not very far. It was only a couple of turns, maybe less than 10 minutes in the car, but we ended up at Jason's house.
Just told the jurors this is the Hellcat that you all got in?
Yes, ma'am.
And then State's Exhibit number 9, that's Jason's house.
Yes.
When you arrived at Jason's home, was anyone else present?
Yeah, his mom was home. So when we walked in the front door, his mom was awake and on the couch and not very happy that he was bringing people home. We tried to make small talk and, kind of ease the situation, but we just ended up going to Jason's bedroom, which was down the hall from there.
When you got back into Jason's
unless I'm helping my family out and we have that's just what's going on, I'd be a little ashamed to be Jason right now. Mom's pissed. She don't want no females in the house. She's talking shit. The girls are now uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? Shit. I'm just saying. Why would you take the females to mom's house? Why would you I don't know.
bedroom did what happened with Christine and JR?
So pretty quickly after getting to Jason's house, Christine and JR started having sex.
And when they started having sex, what did you and Jason do?
Jason had a bedroom that led to the outside, so Jason and I hung out outside most of the time, only to really go in to use the bathroom maybe. Christine and JR were inside for a while. They came outside and mingled a little bit with us and went back into the bedroom.
They were
You
getting
mentioned that
rounds
they
off.
started out having sex. Did their sexual encounters appear to be consensual?
Yes.
So there was nothing that, again, at this point, that caused any red flags?
No.
Now, when you and Jason were outside, what were the two of you doing?
We were drinking, smoking, talking. He had a trampoline out there, so we sat on the trampoline and talked for a while. Just mingling, talking.
Did the two of you have any interest in each other that night beyond just talking and friendship?
No.
So did the two of you hook up at all?
No.
Now, you mentioned that JR and Christine would go inside the house and come back out and kind of go back and forth. During these back and forth interactions, were they normal types of interactions?
Yeah.
Did they appear to be having a good time?
Yeah, they appeared to be having a good time with each other and, joyful and, nothing out of the ordinary or concerning.
Now, about how long were you at Jason's house?
I would say we were probably there for a couple hours, maybe 2 hours.
After about 2 hours, did you all leave?
Yes, so we were at Jason's house and then kind of, quickly JR was saying, oh, we got to go. This guy doesn't want us here anymore. And it was kind of at that point that I realized that Jason and JR didn't know each other before this night.
Oh, what the fuck? Wait, what? This guy doesn't want us here anymore. And they didn't. So you're going to go and fuck this girl in the guy's house that you don't even know? Did they actually know? What? And then what about Jason? He just brings a man into his mom's house just from the club where we all been drinking. He clearly wants to have sex with this girl. You clearly know about that and you let him use your room. All of this is kind of weird. All this, I wouldn't let no, especially in my house.
After about 2 hours, did you all leave?
Yes. So we were at Jason's house, and then kind of, quickly, JR was saying, oh, we got to go. This guy doesn't want us here anymore. And it was kind of at that point that I realized that Jason and JR didn't know each other before this night. The way JR was, seeming at the beginning of the night was that, they were there together. And then when we were leaving, it was, it didn't seem that way. It seemed like this guy wanted us out of his house, and it was kind of quickly an exit.
Yeah, because his mom didn't want you fucking there. I mean, Jason, what are you doing? Yeah, but honestly, I blame Jason for that night. Mom probably heard some moaning. Mom's not stupid. And she was like, yo, why y'all fucking in my house? And then, yeah, Jason kicked you guys out pretty fucking abruptly. I don't know. I don't know if Jason didn't expect that, but I'm assuming Jason knew what type of time they were on. But anyways.
But when we went to the driveway, we got back into the car that we came in, which Jason had drove at that time, but now JR was driving.
Okay, so when you are leaving Jason's house, was it somewhat abrupt as far as
Yeah,
you
it
all
was
leaving?
quick, but it wasn't anything like, he wasn't mad that we were still there or anything like that. It was just time to go.
And this night that you went out on the bar, it was a Sunday night?
Yes. Had to work. I believe Jason had to work the next day. His mom obviously wasn't happy that we were there to begin with. So.
No shit.
So the party, everything is kind of winding down for the night?
Yes, and we go and get in the car, and JR is trying to back the car out of the driveway, and he can't get it to go in reverse. It's just revving the engine in the driveway.
Is the car a manual or a stick shift?
It's a stick shift car.
Clear.
Wait, did she says the car a manual or a stick shift? That's the same thing. So I'm assuming she's saying manual or automatic. So this is not his car. Oh, I get it. And that's why Jason was driving the car, because Jason knows how to drive a manual transmission.
The party,
And I will say that's a special car. If it's stick and it's a Hellcat, a manual transmission Hellcat, that's fire. That's actually fire.
everything is kind of winding down for the night?
Yes, and we go and get in the car, and JR is trying to back the car.
The second I heard he keeps revving, the engine kept revving and revving. I was like, wait, is it a stick, or manuals don't do that? We just put that shit in drive. your boy can't drive that shit.
Are out of the driveway, and he can't get it to go in reverse. It's just revving the engine
That's
in
so
the driveway.
Is the car a manual or a stick shift?
It's a stick shift car.
It's a
Clear to
manual.
you that he was unable to drive a stick shift.
Yes.
So what happened is you're in the driveway and he's revving the engine.
So Jason actually had come outside because he heard the engine revving.
And doing all that extra shit because he can't fucking drive it, revving the fuck out of it.
And said, you guys got to leave. You can't be here anymore. You're being too loud. It's,
Yep.
Almost the morning.
Popping the shit out of that thing.
At that point, JR had actually gotten the car into reverse and into the street.
Oh, God, Lord. Just driving.
He was trying to get...
Honestly, if you don't know how to drive stick, right, and you have to drive it, you should know the concept, right? So clutch in, put it in gear, equal out the clutch and the gas. Once you know how to do that, just shift twice. Get yourself into second gear and just drive home on the back roads. Drive a smooth 25 all the way home. You'll be fine. But then people don't even understand that if you drive too fast on a certain gear, you'll fuck up your car. So they'll probably be revving the shit out of the second gear, not knowing what the fuck is going on. Somebody said somebody tried to steal their car and crashed it in their driveway. That's fucking hilarious. It was not hilarious, but that's hilarious. Fucking idiots.
that I got out of the car and said to Christine, I said, get out of the car, let's take an Uber. Let's get in an Uber and go home.
So were you able to make contact with an Uber driver to have them come pick you up?
Yes, Christine called the Uber.
Oh, so so your boy was stranded there for a solid 10 minutes. No, it's 2:00 in the morning. Let's say he was stranded there looking like a dumbass in front of the ladies for a solid 15 minutes. He could not get the car to move. Like, you can't, like, I would be like, hold on, ladies. So I'd hop in the car, search up the YouTube, how to drive stick, first and second gear only. Boom, you're good. We're driving 20 miles an hour. Like, the girls are happy now. We're driving home, but no.
Once the Uber driver arrived, did you get into the Uber right away?
Yes, I got into the Uber right away. Christine and Wade Wilson were looking for his cell phone. He couldn't find his cell phone. So they started to walk back towards Jason's house to look for his cell phone. I don't know if they made contact with him. I was sitting in the Uber at that point with the Uber driver, and both him and I remember him saying, oh, they got 5 minutes or I'm leaving. And, you know, both of us were ready to go at that point.
Now, to your knowledge, did Wade Wilson, or the person that was saying that he was JR, did he ever find his phone that night?
I don't believe so.
So when he and Christine got back in the car, where did the Uber driver take you?
The Uber took us back to Christine's apartment.
And then that's 10A, Christine's apartment.
Yes.
Now, what happened when you got back to Christine's home?
When we got back to Christine's home, the three of us went into her house, and I know Christine and I had this sense of relief that we had made it home, you know, that we got home, you know, this sense of relief. And I know Christine and I had this sense of relief that we had made it home, you know, that we got.
And then she still goes and talks to the loser who stalled out in front of the house? Oh, no. I don't know.
Home, you know, safely, and you know, just it was winding down. I remember sitting on the couch and taking my shoes off. I remember Christine standing in the kitchen getting something to drink. And I remember telling her, you know, I had to go home because I had to go to work the next day and take my son to school.
Now, where was your son staying that night?
He was with my mom.
And did you and your son live with your mom?
Yeah, we lived with her at the time.
Now, about what time did you leave to go home so that you could take your son to school and go to work?
About 6 o'clock.
Now, prior to leaving, did everything seem fine?
Yeah, it did. And I remember telling Christine, you know, I have to go home, I have to go to work. And she was like, okay. She hugged me and kissed me goodbye and said, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
And again, when she told you goodbye.
Attraction is a hell of a drug. I guess so, man.
And that she'd see you tomorrow. Did you have any concerns for her safety?
No.
And in fact, if you did, would you have left her home with just her and Wade Wilson in that house?
Not at all. And if she was concerned, Christine would have never let me leave that house if she was scared. She would have said, let's get this guy out of here together.
So when you left, is it safe to say that really the night was over, the party was over?
Yeah.
It's already morning time.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, like I said, we had this sense of relief that we had made it home. You know, we obviously were in a car with somebody who couldn't drive a car, and I know for me that was the scariest part of that night, was the being behind the wheel of a car with somebody who couldn't drive. And I know when we got back to Christine's house in that Uber, it felt like, you know, we were home.
Is that scary?
Safe.
And it seems that your concern was not driving while intoxicated because along the way you had gotten Ubers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now,
it's like
you said that you had to take your son to school and you also had to go to work. What time did you go to work?
I had to work the morning shift at Duffy's that day. I think I was at work by 10:30 in the morning. My son starts school at 9, so I dropped him off and then went to work.
Now, you mentioned earlier that Christine worked at Duffy's. Did she have to work a shift that day?
She was not scheduled to work that day.
Nevertheless, did you reach out to her just to check in with her at some point?
Yeah, I had texted her in the early afternoon and just said, "You up?" And I did not receive a response.
All right. Showing State's Exhibit 6, that was Christine's cell phone number at the time?
Yes.
Is 630 like a Chicago or an Illinois area code?
Yeah, that's an Illinois area code.
Showing you 5I.
Shout out my Chicago.
That's the front of her cell phone.
folks.
Yes,
And then 5J, that's the back of her cell phone.
yes.
Now, when she didn't immediately respond to your text, were you concerned at all?
No, at that point, I was not concerned. We had had a late night. She didn't have to work. I assumed she was sleeping.
Okay. Did you later on try to get a hold of her?
So when I left work, I called her again. She didn't answer. And then I got in touch with Samantha, who is her cousin. Again, not concerned that I hadn't heard from her. I asked Sam, I said, "Have you talked to Christine at all today?" She said no. I had told her, I was out with her last night, just kind of told her about our night and what we did, and ended the conversation. Maybe a few minutes later, I'm not sure how long, I got a call from the Cape Coral Police Department.
Now, you mentioned you talked to Samantha, who was Christine's cousin.
Mm-hmm.
Was Samantha...
So I thought this was over a period of time. He met her, fucked her, killed her. What is the point? He could have had an ongoing sexual relationship with her, probably. I mean, you could come back from stalling the car out. She was drunk that night anyway. You could come back from that. Why did he have to take it that far? He could have had a nice sexual partner, and he could have just kept living his life. But nah. Instead, nah. Let's kill her, right? She saw me stall the car. She has to die now. It's type shit. That's what it feels like. I don't know, but